Hello, my name is John Ware, and I'm going to be telling you about my childhood road trips to the fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. As soon as this changes over, we'll go ahead and start our little journey. Any second now. There we go. Alright. I want to go ahead and tell you that my memory is not perfect, so a few of these memories are going to be out of sync and out of order. This is a combination of a few times I went. I only gone 3 times, so this is probably the first and second time I went because those were the most new to me. And I remember the first time that I went, it was such a hectic start because we were all checking and double checking that we had everything. And we always had that feeling that something was being left behind, and we just weren't sure what it was going to be. So that was just one of the beginning difficulties to our little journey. And then, of course, as soon as we get out on the road, my grandma realizes that she forgot something. So we have to turn around and go back to the house. And thankfully, we weren't very far, but we get back on the road and get pretty far down the way and remembers that she needed something important. So we have to turn around, go all the way back. And Dad's starting to get furious. So it was another bad start. And I remember as we were going, I haven't been out of Iowa much at that age. And when I first saw the rolling hills, the fact that it was about to rain, like so in this picture, it just kind of put the image in my head because it was just a extreme new sight to me. And that also brings us to our first stop. Imagine every cliche motel in a movie where you have your neighbors fighting and sirens, and that's basically what our first night ended up being. And it was pretty hectic as well. We pretty much got up early in the morning and left as soon as we could. But as soon as we did that, everything got back on track. Got back seeing the sights, which is one of the reasons I want to go again one last time without my grandpa, because the sights made it the different journey from what I was going to be, if you know what I mean. But that also, crossing the states brought me into weather I hadn't encountered before at that age, and it was pretty serious a few times. And even now, I'm not a fan of storms, and back then I was petrified. I was clinging to the back of the seat in the van that we were in, and it was horrible. But of course, saying every cloud has a silver lining, the storms let up, and when they did, I could see clouds, or not clouds. I could see mountains on the horizon, and my first thought was that they were clouds, and it amazed me that I was actually seeing mountains for the first time, and that also stuck with me for a very long time. But with those mountains came another hazard that I was not very fond of. And the first time I looked over through the passenger side window and saw this straight drop, I was clinging to the driver's side for about the next, I want to say, day. And after we got up higher, it kind of leveled out, and we saw some buffalo. And I went running down the hill to get them because there were a bunch of people out down there, and no idea what altitude did, but thinning air, and I was winded, and I started freaking out because I didn't know why. And first, chance with altitude. And leaving the mountains, we go into whitewater rafting, which was probably one of the best experiences of my life. Not to mention the most thrilling, not to mention what happened while we were whitewater rafting. It's my dad happened to get tossed out of the raft, and he got thrown pretty far, and he had to swim back. And before we did this, the guy was telling us to hold on to our paddles, and he did not absolutely let go of the paddle. And that's the one thing the guy was surprised of, is that everybody else lets go of the paddle, but he just used his feet to kick back to the boat. This was an amazement for me too. This really, even at that age, made me feel really small in the world. Uh, the Grand Canyon was something that I'd love to go back to over and over again. It's just, it's new every time you go there because you just see it in a different way. But even with all these amazing things going on, there are moments in time where good old Game Boy Advance just saved my life. I mean, at night when I had a flashlight that I could use to play it with, because it didn't light up yet like the Game Boy Advanced SD did, which was an extreme lifesaver when you wanted to stay up all night before school and play some video games. And bringing us to the first side of Las Vegas. I had no idea it was it. Nothing whatsoever thought that was going to be Las Vegas. And it really surprised me. I thought it was going to be this huge, monstrous building after building, and it's huge, don't get me wrong, but it's not what I had in my little kid head. And it really surprised me with the first hotel I was going to stay in there, too. The Circus Circus Hotel was something I could never have dreamed of as a kid. I mean, it's a freaking circus, man. It's got everything a little kid would want, and a lot of big kids as well. And it seemed that I was playing a game ready to drop a ball, get into the bonus. Anyways, guy comes up, tells me a trick how to do it, and I got jackpots on 3 machines in a row, and the guys came up to me and told me I was no longer allowed to play those games because I was cheating or something of that sort. And this went on for a few days. The acrobatics, the pools, the rides, and my favorite, of course, was the rock climbing. I just love being able to climb up those walls and not feeling the risk of being let drop because of the cables that were around me. But trip home was just as enjoyable, and I thank you for watching, and I hope that I did not bore you too much with this stuttering excuse for a Pekakucha, if I'm correct. Take it easy, guys.